Let us now move to another extremely important and repeatedly tested topic in environmental studies, greenhouse gases, commonly known as GHGs. Greenhouse gases are special gases present in the Earth's atmosphere that make the planet warmer. You can understand their function easily through the blanket analogy. Just like a blanket traps body heat and keeps you warm, greenhouse gases trap the heat that the Earth releases after being warmed by the sun. This natural process is called the greenhouse effect, and it is essential for sustaining life on Earth. To understand the mechanism, let's break it down step by step. First, sunlight from the sun reaches the Earth and warms its surface. Next, the Earth releases this absorbed energy back into the atmosphere in the form of thermal radiation. At this stage, greenhouse gases play their crucial role. They primarily absorb infrared radiation from the solar spectrum, a detail that has been directly asked in exams. By absorbing this outgoing heat and preventing it from escaping into space, greenhouse gases keep the Earth's surface warm. Without this natural greenhouse effect, the average temperature of the Earth would be around minus 18 degrees Celsius, making the planet largely uninhabitable. Because of greenhouse gases, the Earth maintains an average temperature of about 15 degrees Celsius, which supports life. It is also important to remember that greenhouse gases, including water vapor, absorb the Earth's thermal radiation and contribute to global warming, another exam-tested statement. At the same time, examiners also emphasize that Earth's climate was changing even before humans appeared, reminding us that climate change has both natural and anthropogenic dimensions. Now let us look at the main greenhouse gases. Among the naturally occurring greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, water vapor, methane, and ozone are the most important. And this classification has been directly asked in exams. Each of these gases behaves differently in the atmosphere and contributes to warming in its own way. We begin with water vapor, the most abundant greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. It occurs naturally as part of the Earth's water cycle. Water vapor plays a powerful role in amplifying warming because as temperatures rise, the atmosphere can hold more moisture, which in turn traps even more heat. Although water vapor contributes significantly to climate change, it is relatively short-lived in the atmosphere and is largely regulated by natural processes like evaporation and precipitation. Next comes carbon dioxide, which deserves special attention. A major contribution to the greenhouse effect comes from carbon dioxide, a statement that examiners have directly tested. In fact, carbon dioxide has the maximum contribution to global warming, making it the most significant anthropogenic greenhouse gas. Carbon dioxide is released mainly through the burning of fossil fuels and deforestation. Unlike water vapor, carbon dioxide has a long atmospheric lifetime, allowing it to accumulate over time and intensify global warming effects. Moving ahead, we have methane, another highly important greenhouse gas. Methane is emitted from agricultural activities, fossil fuel production, waste decomposition, and wetlands. And remember, methane emission from wetlands has been explicitly asked in exams. Methane also plays a role in atmospheric chemistry. It helps in the formation of ozone and is classified as a volatile organic compound. Another exam-focused point. Although methane remains in the atmosphere for a shorter period than carbon dioxide, it is much more effective at trapping heat, meaning it has a higher global warming potential. The next greenhouse gas is nitrous oxide, which is mainly produced through the use of fertilizers and various industrial processes. One very important exam-tested fact is that nitrous oxide has a significantly higher global warming potential than methane, carbon dioxide, and even carbon monoxide. At this point, examiners often test conceptual clarity. So remember the distinction clearly. Nitrous oxide, N2O, is a greenhouse gas, while nitrogen dioxide, NO2, is an air pollutant associated with respiratory diseases and atmospheric discoloration. Confusing these two is a common mistake, and questions are often framed around this difference. Another key greenhouse gas is ozone. ozone is formed through chemical reactions involving pollutants and sunlight. Its role depends on where it is found. At ground level, ozone is harmful and contributes to smog and respiratory problems. However, in the stratosphere, ozone plays a protective role by shielding the Earth from harmful ultraviolet radiation. This dual nature of ozone is an important conceptual area in exams. Let us now discuss chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, which are entirely human-made greenhouse gases. CFCs are potent and stable greenhouse gases that vaporize just below room temperature, a description that has appeared in exam questions. They are especially dangerous because they can catalytically destroy ozone in the stratosphere, leading to ozone depletion. In fact, the discovery of the ozone hole was first made over Antarctica, another confirmed exam point. It is also important to remember that chlorofluorocarbons are classified as non-vehicular pollutants. Due to international action under the Montreal Protocol, the concentration of CFCs in the atmosphere has been decreasing, a fact examiners frequently test. However, CFCs already released into the atmosphere will persist for many years because of their long atmospheric lifetime. Finally, we come to sulfur hexafluoride, abbreviated as SF6. This gas is used mainly in electrical insulation systems and the semiconductor industry. Although present in very small concentrations, sulfur hexafluoride is considered the strongest greenhouse gas per molecule. It has an extremely long atmospheric lifetime, making even small emissions highly significant from a climate change perspective. Let us now move to another very important and frequently tested concept in climate studies, global warming potential, commonly referred to as GWP. Global warming potential is a scientific measure used to compare how much heat different greenhouse gases can trap in the atmosphere over a specific period of time, usually 100 years. To make this comparison possible, carbon dioxide is taken as the reference gas and assigned a GWP value of 1, and this definition has been directly asked in exams. Every other greenhouse gas is then compared relative to carbon dioxide to understand how powerful it is in warming the Earth. As we go deeper, it is important to understand that GWP is not fixed. The global warming potential of a molecule of a greenhouse gas can vary significantly depending on the time span considered, whether it is a few decades or a full 100-year period, and this variability has been highlighted in exam questions. This happens because different gases stay in the atmosphere for different lengths of time. Some greenhouse gases have much shorter atmospheric lifetimes than carbon dioxide, yet they may trap heat more effectively during that shorter period, making them extremely dangerous despite their brief presence. Now let us focus on the ranking of greenhouse gases based on global warming potential, a section that examiners frequently test directly. When arranged from lowest to highest GWP, the correct increasing order is carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons. Carbon dioxide forms the baseline with a GWP of 1. Methane has a GWP ranging roughly from 28 to 36, meaning it traps far more heat than carbon dioxide over the same period. Nitrous oxide is even more powerful with a GWP between 265 and 298. Chlorofluorocarbons and similar gases such as hydrofluorocarbons have GWPs running into the thousands. For example, CFC11 has a GWP of around 4,660. At the extreme end lies sulfur hexafluoride with a staggering GWP of about 23,500, making it one of the most potent greenhouse gases known. Closely related to GWP is the idea of atmospheric lifetime, which refers to how long a gas remains in the atmosphere before it is removed by natural processes. The longevity of greenhouse gases varies widely, and the correct exam-tested order for decreasing atmospheric lifetimes is CFC11, followed by nitrous oxide, then methane, and finally surface ozone. This means CFCs remain in the atmosphere for the longest time, while surface ozone persists for the shortest duration. Understanding this order helps explain why some gases have long-term impacts even if they are released in small quantities. Let us now connect GWP to global emissions and human activity. Since humans began using machines and factories during the industrial era, roughly around the mid-18th century, greenhouse gas emissions have increased dramatically. Industrialization, fossil fuel use, and large-scale energy consumption have accelerated atmospheric warming. At present, China is the largest emitter of greenhouse gases, a fact that has been asked in exams. Other major contributors include the United States, India, Russia, Japan, Germany, Iran, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, and Indonesia, with emissions driven by coal dependence, oil and gas production, industrial activities, and deforestation. This global distribution highlights how economic development and energy choices shape emission patterns. Given these rising emissions, mitigation becomes essential. One of the most effective ways to control greenhouse gas emissions is by encouraging energy efficiency across society, a point that examiners frequently emphasize. Improving energy efficiency reduces fuel consumption, lowers emissions, and provides significant environmental benefits. Simple measures such as efficient appliances, cleaner technologies, and smarter energy use can collectively make a major difference in reducing global warming potential at the societal level. Finally, let us look at the impacts of greenhouse gases, especially global warming and sea level rise. Carbon dioxide alone is responsible for about 3/4 of global warming, making it the dominant driver of climate change. Scientists warn that allowing global temperatures to rise beyond 2 degrees Celsius could lead to dangerous and irreversible consequences. One of the most visible impacts of global warming is sea level rise. As oceans warm, water expands, a process known as thermal expansion, which has been directly asked in exams. Over the past 100 years, global sea levels have risen by approximately 10 to 25 centimeters or more, with thermal expansion contributing the maximum share. This rise threatens coastal ecosystems, human settlements, and global stability.